Just when things might have been settling down, trade talks between Canada and the U.S. exploded. I'm Ben Mulrooney. The West Block starts right now.
We can't control the trade policy of the United States.
The Prime Minister is expected to see Donald Trump later in Asia as his first budget focuses squarely on doing business with countries other than our closest neighbor.
We are Canada strong.
We speak with the government House Leader, and coming up,
stand by, send it.
We sat down with him last week. Today, we join former military sniper Barry Nisbet on the range. It's been another tumultuous week in Canada-U.S. relations as negotiations appear to be going well, with the Prime Minister's trade minister spending a lot of time in Washington. Late Thursday night, it all came crashing down. Donald Trump posting, quote, "All negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated."
Fair and free competition.
This Ontario ad, airing nearly 2 weeks ago, was what the U.S. president squarely blamed, writing, "Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs." The late U.S. president was well known to be against tariffs. In reaction, the Prime Minister said his government is prepared to pick up again where things left off.
We stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries.
This all comes 2 weeks before the Prime Minister's first budget, which, in a rare address earlier last week, Mark Carney underlined how he sees a stronger Canada.
We used to take big, bold risks in this country. It is time to swing for the fences again. And this is what the upcoming budget will be about: building, taking control, and winning. Above all, we will build Canadian.
The Prime Minister underlying Ottawa's desire to branch out to more than just our neighbors.
Our goal for Canada is to double our non-U.S. exports over the course of the next decade, generating more than $300 billion more in trade. Our relationship with the United States will never again be the same as it was, even though in this new world of protectionism, we have the best trade deal of any other country, and we're working to make it even better still.
No new details, though, on how those trade negotiations are going. But he did ask Canadians to be patient.
It will take some sacrifices, and it will take some time.
While Mark Carney's speech touched on a lot of topics, from childcare to immigration, it did little in the way of details leading up to November 4th's budget. The government isn't getting any support on it so far, and they need at least one party to back them up, or there's a chance we could be heading back to the polls. Pierre Poilievre met with Mark Carney last week about the budget, but said he didn't leave with any promises.
We had a good conversation. He didn't make any commitments, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes up with.
Government House Leader Stephen MacKinnon joins us now. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you so much for spending time with us on the West Block.
Good morning, and it's great to be with you.
All right, I've got to get your gut reaction when you saw Donald Trump's middle-of-the-night post on trade last week.
Well, I think, look, we're living, to suffice to say, in very unpredictable times. And when this came through late in the evening, on Thursday evening, obviously you're surprised. But, you know, we're now conditioned to expect the unexpected. We've been engaged in a very constructive, obviously long process with the United States on trade matters, and twists and turns are always going to occur.
It's been said about Donald Trump that in order to deal with him accurately, you have to be able to recognize the difference between the signal and the noise. Is this one of those situations, or is this halting of our trade negotiations having a real impact?
Well, you know, this is where Mr. Mulrooney, the Prime Minister's advice to all of us rings very true. And that is, control what you can control, work constructively, work positively, obviously defend ferociously those things that must be defended, the things that we all value as Canadians, the economy that we are going to continue to build together. But look, work on the things that you can work on and make a positive contribution to. We can't control what we can't control. So let's do everything we can and work day and night to move forward on those things that we do control.
What has been the reaction on Parliament Hill, both within the Liberal government and as well as what you're hearing beyond your ranks?
Well, it won't be a surprise to you to know that within our group, our parliamentary group, our caucus, and ministers, you have some people who are extremely committed to seeing this process through, to making their very positive contribution to that. Obviously, when setbacks or twists in the road occur, people take note of that, suck it up a little more, and then just move on. But you know what? I'm very, very confident that we have started down a solid and constructive path of reaching an arrangement with the United States. And I think most people that you talk to around here share that view.
Your government's budget, at least according to the Prime Minister's address to Canadians last week, is heavy on building a stronger Canada, more independent from the U.S. Is that being rethought at all right now, retooled in any way?
No. This Prime Minister, since he started his leadership campaign, has spoken of the need to spend less and invest more. Now, that's two things. That means that we do need to better control the operating expenditures of the government, make some hard choices. We're not going to be able to do everything that we would like to do because there are things that we must do. And what we must do is expand our trade corridors, build major economically positive projects in this country, projects that will pay dividends over years and decades, create opportunities for young people. So this budget is going to be both of those stories. It's going to be some hard choices, yes, on the operating side for the government, but some major investments, generational investments in our economic prosperity.
Well, you are going to need some support from an opposition party for the budget. A strong minority position, but a minority nonetheless. Yep. And you said you're concerned about what you're seeing on Parliament Hill. What are you hearing from the other side of the aisle that's so concerning?
Well, what I'm seeing is a staring contest, to be honest. I'm seeing opposition parties who I think misread the mood of the electorate. We had an election barely 6 months ago. Where, no, we did not get a majority, but we did get a mandate. And this Prime Minister was given marching orders by Canadians to deal with Donald Trump, to deal with the trade threats coming from south of our border, and to build an economic plan that will guide us into the future, diversify our trade, and bring new jobs and economic contributions to Canada. That plan will be presented on November 5th, and the opposition parties are going to have a decision to make. The pre-budget posturing that you're seeing, whether it be from Mr. Poilievre or the Bloc Québécois, is quite frankly a little bit detached from the reality that I just described. It is detached in this way. We have a mandate. Mr. Poilievre is making demands that he knows are unrealistic. And Mr. Blanchet, well, he says the budget is illegitimate. Coming from a person with 22 seats in a 343-seat House of Commons, I would question his knowledge of legitimacy. But Mr. Blanchet has said, without even reading the budget, that he would rule out voting for that budget. I don't think that's how Canadians want this Parliament to work. I don't think that's how Canadians want either Mr. Poilievre or Mr. Blanchet to be acting in advance of what is going to be a very, very important budget in the history of our country.
Now, I heard you mention the leader of the Conservatives and the leader of the Bloc Québécois, but you didn't mention the NDP. Can I assume, therefore, that you're not lumping them in with those two opposition parties and perhaps they are more amenable to supporting this and perhaps alongside, I don't know, a vote like Elizabeth May of the Green Party, you may have enough votes to get this over the line?
Well, I have no idea what the NDP will or won't do with respect to the budget, nor do I know about Ms. May. What I do know, though, is that they've been a little more constructive in their public comments. They have things to say and advice to give, of course, and we're obviously always happy to get that advice and those recommendations. But they have not come forward like Pierre Poilievre and Yves-François Blanchet have done and ruled out supporting a budget that they haven't even read.
So if this is a staring contest, who's going to blink first? I mean, regardless of how this goes down, if this does lead to the fall of this government and we are in an election campaign, everybody's going to point fingers at everybody else. And I don't think anybody, including people on Parliament Hill or people watching at home right now, want that.
Well, all I know is that it's up to the government to present a budget, and we'll be presenting a budget. That's a budget that'll be informed with the conversations that the Prime Minister had with Pierre Poilievre and the leader of the Bloc and with other leaders. He's met them all, as have other ministers. We've heard their views on what's in the budget. Then we will present a budget. And it will, frankly, at that point, be up to the opposition parties to decide collectively whether this Parliament continues. We don't want an election. If there's an election, the Liberal Party would mobilize quickly and with great determination to try and win the election. But this is not an election we seek. This is not an electoral confrontation Canadians particularly want at this time. So there would be a price to pay for that as well. But I believe that that's the price that the opposition parties would pay for taking down a government that was just elected 6 months ago.
Hold a certain amount of authority when having these behind closed door meetings, but the Prime Minister is the Prime Minister for a reason. The buck stops at his office. So when the Prime Minister has meetings with members of other parties, specifically the leaders, does that help smooth things over at all?
Well, and I must add that these meetings were at his invitation. These are meetings that the Prime Minister felt strongly that he should have, to have the opposition parties, yes, come and give private advice as to what should be in the budget. But, you know, the other, as the government House Leader, the thing I value there is it actually causes them to take stands that they're often reluctant to take in public. So, you know, it's up to them to explain what their particular advice might be on the budget. But budgets, as you know, require choices. I described some of the hard choices that the government's going to have to make in order to move to an economically and jobs-focused agenda that creates growth in the country. Those are the choices that we've been signaling all along that we're preparing to make. And I think it's up to the opposition parties, Mr. Poilievre and Mr. Blanchet, to give the same clarity as to the kinds of choices they would make.
Well, we all know elections aren't cheap, and we just went through one. I'm sure we'll be paying for it at some point. What do you think the realistic chances are of an election right now? I had some people on a radio show that I host, and we were talking about parallels with 1979. Some said it's an apt warning of the past that we should learn from, and others say there's no chance that that could happen this time. What do you think?
Well, these are some names perhaps not all of your viewers will be familiar with, but I think you will be, Mr. Mulrooney. You know, we won't have Flora MacDonald doing an African tour. We will have every single Liberal in the House of Commons voting for this budget. We're 3 short of a majority. We need 3-4 votes to get us over the top. We're certainly hoping the opposition parties bring that level of constructivity to this process that sees this budget pass. If not, then an election will be on their hands.
Stephen MacKinnon, we appreciate your time. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.